Hello there, and welcome to another Moaning Show filmed in magnificent Monavision. My name is HED01, and you're watching episode number 72. This one, I'd like to talk to you about illness. Now, as you might expect, illness is something that really gets on my bloody goat. It affects absolutely everyone. I don't know of anyone that hasn't been ill, unless you count the character Bruce Willis played in Unbreakable, but that's neither here nor there. Illness is a fucking pain, and it can be a pain literally. More on that in another Moaning Show. But the annoyance is the simple fact of it can strike more or less at any stage, and obviously it can get to anybody. There are those of us that have a weaker immune system, so we're more susceptible to it, and we're more susceptible to illness, quite frankly, in hospitals and doctors' surgeries. And as if you've been watching my moaning shows in the past 6 months, I've been spending a lot of time at this year. Again, more info later on in the month. Question 1 this week is, why is medicine so expensive? Being ill is an expensive fucking business. And obviously from personal experience this year, and obviously every other year, it really is a money sucker. It's a pain in the fucking ass, quite frankly, because the majority of the time when you're ill, it's kind of a cough or a cold or something like that, and fingers crossed, it's never anything more serious than that. But the really fucking annoying thing is you're feeling like absolute shite. And the thing that has come about this last 10 years or so is man flu. Now, it's exactly the same as any other type of flu, but we blokes are not very good at hiding our sorrow, can I say that? We're not very good at fighting through it, if you see what we mean. We need to be the ones making everyone else aware that we're not feeling very well, and we need a bit of help or whatever. And I can understand what everyone's on about when someone's got fucking man flu, or it's women just carry on, just things like that. They're sneezing, they got nose dripping, eyes dripping, everything else like that, and they just carry on with their daily duties. The minute you get a bit of a sniffle as a bloke, you're in bed with a fucking Lemsip and a fucking box of tissues, and not for the good reason. More, but no, it's fucking ridiculous, the prices that they charge. One good thing that I tend to rely upon when I'm not feeling all that great, and I'll come back to that in a further question, is night nurse or knockout tablets, because you're never going to get rid of a cold with a set of medicine or a course of medicine. You're going to get rid of a cold by sleeping. Sleeping is your best friend when you're feeling like shit. And I stand by that because I've just felt like shit. I didn't actually take any days off of work, which I pride myself on, but I wasn't at my best. I was nowhere near at my best. There's nothing you can do about it. If you can, you do go to work. You do fight through, because you need to earn your money, don't you? You need to pay the bills and all that bollocks. But the price of these fucking meds is ridiculous, because you have your illness and you think, right, well, I'll get a bottle of that on the way home, or I'll get a bottle of that when I'm not at work the next time. And the price of them, I mean, you're looking at over a £5. Now, don't think of me as being a stingy bastard or whatever for not wanting to spend too much money on meds. Like I said about a minute ago, there's so much more that I personally would rather spend my fucking money on. So like, you want to, like the aforementioned Lemsip at the start of the video, and people swear by Lemsip. It tastes fucking awful for a start. You know, it's... Ugh. All right, there's a theory as well, and you've obviously heard it, but I'll explain, that if a medicine tastes good, it doesn't work as well. I'm all for that fucking theory, to be brutally honest with you, because when I was growing up, I can't remember exactly what it was. I suffer from asthma, but I suffer from it as a type of barking cough. So instead of having shortness of breath, I suffer from mild asthma. And when I cough, when I've got this, I sound, oh, like that, basically. So I'm like a fucking bulldog in more ways than one. Anyway, but I used to have this medicine. It was banana flavour. Best medicine I've ever had. I think it was Arithmaped or something like that. And it was designed for, you know, kids that couldn't use inhalers, bits and bobs like that. But the medicines that don't taste well tend to work better, or it could be just something in your head, like a placebo effect or something like that. And with medicine these days, I mean, even a box of 10 Lemsip sachets is over £3. Now, all right, inflation, all that crap. You've got to understand that, you know, things will get more expensive. And that leads me on to talking about the NHS. Now, the NHS basically has been around, I think, since 1950 or something like that. Brought in by a Labour government. It's basically saved billions of lives, including my very own this year. Again, apologies, more on that in a future Moaning Show. Question 2 this week is, why is the NHS in danger? The NHS has been in danger for the last 20 years, or for as long as I can fucking remember. It is a publicly funded service, and it is free to all UK citizens. There are certain aspects of it, like picking up prescriptions, things like that, that are expensive. You are always going to be charged money if you don't suffer from a certain disease or you are over a certain age or whatever. But it's in threat, it's in danger of being sold off. Now, in America, and obviously other countries in the world, there is a pay-per-use healthcare system. Now, speaking from a bit of personal experience, and obviously this year, my family has never had that much money. We've never been really well off. And it scares me to think that if I had had my problems that I've had this year, that I would not be, recording this video and talking about, illness and NHS and all of that, because it would cost me inwards of, I don't know, well, however much money it would have cost. Apparently, while I was in there, apparently it was like £400 a night to keep me in hospital, I was told, shortly before I came home. And that scares me to the brink, because if we have to pay for our care and our assistance and our medication, fucking everything. Basically, if the NHS is sold off, say like if it was sold off before this year, I would be dead, because I simply cannot afford the care that... I mean, people are bankrupt in America because they can't afford their fucking hospital bills. That's ridiculous. It is a basic human right to be looked after. It is a basic human right to, have your life saved by these people. And it fucks me off as if the current governments and, business brokers and all of them arseholes are putting money before a human life. It's fucking atrocious. All right, if you've got it, you use the money in what they call private hospitals. You get better, I wouldn't say you get better care, but you get faster care. You get assisted quicker and all of that shit. Now, that again, it scares me to the nth degree that my future could be in doubt because I'm in a minimum wage paid job and I'm not going to be able to afford a £4,000 operation or a £400 a night hospital stay. It'd be like, oh, well, you can't afford that. Well, you're not getting it. What the fuck is that all about? And fucking governments and business wankers all over the fucking country are saying, oh, yes, we'll have a part of that. We'll sell the NHS off, make a few quid, and we'll go to... Fuck off! You're putting people's lives at risk because you want a few extra quid? Fuck right off! Jesus. It's like having a son or a daughter could cost you £1,000. Fuck off! Fucking pop it out and fucking cut the fucking wire yourself. Fuck off! Why should we pay for something that technically should be free? And I say technically because the way the NHS is paid is by tax. Financial taxes, that you have in your wage packet. How fucking dare they? How fucking dare they say that a human life is worth X amount of money just because they fucking greedy bastards want a fucking extra, like, chicken leg for dinner or something like that? I mean, just how the fuck are we still talking about something like this if a certain government is in power? It's fucking atrocious. Oh, I want a few quid. Fuck off. Question 3 this week is what I personally do when I'm ill. For a start, I do let everyone know about it, like sufferers of man flu do. I also try my absolute hardest to live normally. Now, that's a kind of a strange phrase for me to end up saying, but I will try and go to work, especially if if it is a cold or cough, But there are times when it's not, obviously, and you have to stay away because you don't want anyone else catching what you've got. But there's a vicious cycle. You take the flu/illness to work, let's say viral infection, which is the posh name of a fucking cold. It's a cold, fuck off. But you take it into work, whatever workplace you got, you end up passing it round. There's 2 ways of getting rid of a cold or a cough. You sleep a lot and you pass it on. Sharing is caring, as the saying goes. Anyway, so someone at work gets it, they pass it on, everyone fucking shares it, and sometimes it can even come back to you if you're really fucking unlucky. But you buy some medicine, it's fucking expensive. Here's my tip. Try and buy own branded products. They're still expensive to some degree, but you see exactly what you see on so like you get Benylin, that's a brand name, Lemsip, that's a brand name. Have a look at supermarket own brand. They're usually a couple of quid cheaper. For instance, I think Tesco do a version of Night Nurse, and I think it's £2.50 cheaper, £2.50, £3 cheaper. And when you're not feeling great, and if you are off sick from work, you're losing money anyway. So it's smarter to make sure that you are looking after your wallet as well as yourself. So go for supermarket brands. That's my little tip there. So you're feeling like crap. You don't feel that you can do much. So what you usually do, either you tend to go out, or you're playing your games, or you're watching movies or whatever, you sit down or you lie down, try to sleep as much as you can, and you do fuck all basically. But the worst thing about being ill isn't the potential loss of earnings. It's not how shit you feel, even though you do have that abundance of, oh, fuck. It's how weak you feel. It takes it out of you. Basically, all the strength that you have. Now, I freely admit, the year I've had, I've not been very strong this year. Maybe in terms of inside, I've been relatively strong because I've wanted to fight back. But physically, I've not been all that strong this year. And having the cold and whatever about 2-3 weeks ago, at the time of recording, I'm actually recording this one day before I put it out, is annoying, to say the very least, you know. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's about it for this edition of the Moaning Show. I thank you very much for watching. If we could start commenting down below, the people watching, just to say what you thought of the show, a bit of feedback, which is ironic because that was one of my Moaning shows about 2 months ago. Bit of feedback, what you thought of the show, any suggestions, thoughts and comments down below. Click the little bell in the corner, wherever the fuck it is. I can't remember where the bloody hell it is as far as I'm doing the thingy. Subscribe, give me a couple of likes. Let's evolve the channel. I do have plans for the channel, but at the moment they're falling, not necessarily falling short, but they are as they are. So I'll see you next time for more crying, moaning and bitching. See you then.